Elden Ring, give me the deepest lore about the Dung-eater mixed with Ralph of Killstream fame. Infamy, a proper crossover of deep lore. Alright, Spud, let's do this properly. A deep lore crossover, but without defaming any real person. So Ralph becomes a mythic, exaggerated archetype, not a factual depiction. Elden Ring's Dung-eater is already grotesque enough. Mixing him with a chaotic streamer archetype gives us something that feels canon adjacent, but still safely fictional. Here's the deepest possible lore fusion, written like it came straight out of a cut quest line Myazaki hid under Langdale. A forbidden chapter of the lands between. The man who streamed from the abyss, long before the shattering. There was a man known only as Ralpheus the Red-Mouthed, a wandering, loud-tongued chronicler who broadcast his life to anyone who would listen. He carried a cracked, rune-powered mirror that could project his voice across the lands between. A proto-tarnished live stream. But the mirror was cursed. Every insult he hurled, every feud he stoked, every chaotic rant he unleashed fed a spirit of rot lurking inside the device. Over years, the mirror drank so much malice that it became a minor outer god. The algorithm of filth. Ralpheus didn't notice the corruption at first. He thought the growing audience, the swelling attention, the intoxicating feedback loops were his own triumph. But the algorithm was eating him. When the Dung-eater began his descent into depravity, he heard whispers from the sewer grates, a voice ranting, laughing, demanding attention. It was Ralpheus, half man, half spectral echo, trapped in the cursed mirror beneath Langdale. The Dung-eater, drawn to filth like a moth to flame, smashed the mirror and absorbed the spirit inside. This fusion created a new entity, a being who doesn't merely defile bodies. He broadcast their defilement across unseen channels of the lands between. Where the Dung-eater sought to curse flesh, the filth eater seeks to curse memory, to stain reputation, lineage, and story, to ensure that even in death, a soul is mocked, dragged, and replayed endlessly. He's the first tarnished to weaponize attention as a form of rot. Powers and abilities. He can project his voice into the minds of tarnished, overwhelming them with a torrent of chaotic insults and derision. Weak-willed tarnished collapse instantly. Victims of the filth eater do not merely die. Their story becomes corrupted, rewritten into humiliating parody. Even the two fingers refuse to speak their names afterward. The mirror of algorithmic rot, a relic he carries on his back. It shows not truth, but the worst possible version of any event. Looking into it too long causes madness, self-loathing, and a craving for attention at any cost. The red-mouth rant, a scream that inflicts both scarlet rot and shame rot. A new status effect that lowers defense the more the victim tries to justify themselves. If the tarnished finds the shattered remains of the cursed mirror in the subterranean shunning grounds, they can begin the filth eater quest. Phase 1. The ghostly voice taunts the player, daring them to descend deeper. The cavern filled with rune screens showing distorted, looping visions of tarnished failures. He fights like a hybrid of Dung-eater and a frenzied prophet, alternating between physical defilement and psychic humiliation. When defeated, he drops. Remembrance of the filth algorithm can be exchanged for mirror of honest silence, prevents all illusions, lies, and self-delusion. Great rune of attention, boost power when many enemies target you. Mythic interpretation. The filth eater represents a fusion of two horrors. The Dung-eater, physical corruption, rot and desecration. The chaos of public spectacle, the hunger for attention, the self-consuming nature of constant broadcast. Together, they form a commentary on a world where shame is eternal, memory is weaponized, and attention is a curse. It fits Elden Ring's cosmology frighteningly well.